All right. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. I believe we are finally good to go. Welcome. Howdy. How we feeling? Welcome to the show. My name is Jimmy Moreland. I am a voice actor, audiobook narrator, and music producer. And today we are doing our normal live stream action, and that is to do some live auditions on the big voiceover casting websites on voices.com, Voice123, and then we'll head over to ACX and see if there are any new audiobooks for us to audition for. But today, after we do our normal audition routine, we've got something really fun that we're going to do that I think some folks out there are going to find some interest in, and that is we're going to produce a 15-minute check. Now, on ACX, the Audiobook Creation Exchange, basically where the majority of audiobook work happens nowadays, once you get a deal with an author or rights holder as a narrator, when you're producing the audiobook, one of the early steps, once you've agreed, yes, we're going to make this audiobook, you will you basically produce it. Generally, it's the first 15 minutes or a good representative 15 minutes of what the finished product is going to sound like, so that, yes, the author or rights holder has heard your audition, but now this is their opportunity to hear what you're actually going to deliver. Once you had an opportunity to read the entire book cover to cover, and you're actually applying all of your mastering effects chain and all that kind of stuff, which, pro tip, for your auditions, have them be formatted that way anyway for audiobooks. My processing is inobtrusive enough, if that's the right word. It's transparent enough that I feel confident in my workflow that the same mastering chain goes on audiobook auditions, voiceover auditions, and finished audiobook products. I feel confident enough in what I deliver, sounding good and transparent and not overly processed, to where I feel that it's appropriate for me to submit for both. But a real 15-minute check, and it's something new for us to do because this is going to be a 15-minute check with our dual narration partner. So our partner in this project, Teresa Bakken, has submitted the first couple of chapters from her sections, and then we've got some of my audio. So we're going to live on the stream put all of that together and actually make a nice little first 15 minutes little package and get that sent off to the author for approval, and then we are off to the races. Full production of the audiobook goes from there. We might later tonight do the hour of finished audio that we've been talking about for a long time. We'll see what's going on. We'll see if the lady has any plans for us, because that's how it goes. But right now, we are going to head over to our auditions, and we've got voices.com up over here. Let's see if we've got a new audition. No, we got a brand new audition that just came in. Let's refresh and see. And it's right here. Adult males in story-rich indie game. Stream or die. Have I been tracking this? I love that they include the actual game Steam store link. Let's see here. Okay, so an RPG inside an RPG. Okay. So I'm getting a feel for the style. Looks like it's got several different styles, sort of incepted in upon each other. Some pixel RPG style. So cool. Okay, so we get an immediate, because we're familiar with the genre and we've played some games like this, we get an idea of what they might be looking for. Let's take a look at the script here. So we've got just one character. They're looking to cast Surge, who basically looks like a big old bear. College buddy of the protagonist, a techie who works in a forensic AI firm, and he just got a new puppy. There's been some weird AI activity around media influencers. Probably nothing. Let's see here. Okay. Well, this sounds fun, and we'll see if we'll see how we feel about this audition. Let's jump into it though. Cage, old buddy. Great to see you again. Seriously, AI is no joke. So hold on. Oh, there are different characters. Okay. So we need to know who else we're talking about. So this is Surge that we read. We might actually make it bigger and more bombastic. Remember, this is video games. Everything is big and huge, and especially video games that have this sort of anime art style. The delivery is it is not a realistic line delivery. It's a thing unto its own. This is modern kabuki theater. It is not meant to be a realistic rendering of emotion. It is its own thing. Once I realized and understood and accepted that, my my cringing at the delivery of this style kind of went away, because I just sort of I accepted, like, it's not meant to be realistic. Let's just move on. So what else do we have? We're also reading for Tovar, an older, upstanding congregation member. He gets a little loopy when someone has spiked the sacramental wine. Hell yeah. And then we've got the butler, which droll, dry, and butlery. Love it. Excuse me, Mr. Spendle. There are some men here to see you. Okay, so let's read all of these three with all of this in mind. Cage, old buddy. Great to see you again. Seriously, AI is no joke. Seriously, AI is no joke. Must be a fine vintage. Feels like my head's afloat. Must be a fine vintage. Feels like my head's afloat. Excuse me, Master Spindle. Excuse me, Master Spindle. There are some men here to see you. Excuse me, Master Spindle. There are some men here to see you. Okay, those feel good. Really happy with that. We're going to copy our room tone here, paste it at the front, trim our heads and tails, and do a little edit here. I think this is the one here that we liked. And then I think we're taking this. Oh, no. We're taking this one. All right. We could agonize over trying to get like a word, like syllable perfect read for those. And I realized just now that you were not able to hear that playback, but we'll fix that for the rest of the stream here. So this is Stream or Die. Stream or Die. Surge. And we'll just leave it at that. This is a case where it pays to be sitting in your booth, ready to record. We're only an 80% match, but we're so early that we actually have a decent chance of being heard. We're going to do live direction session for no additional fee. I just need to update the template to include that. 250 is the quote. Cool. Yeah. Being in your booth, ready to work when the auditions roll in, makes a big difference. The next thing that we absolutely love to see, aside from being early to a job, is being early to a job and seeing this little badge here. Worked together previously. So we see a special badge when we get it in our feed, worked together previously, and the client sees a special badge, worked together previously, on their end when they're looking at all the auditions that they've received. So we get like a nice little blip, little bright shining headlights over our name. So if we want to do this job, which I can tell you right now, we don't want to do this job for a couple reasons. But if we wanted to do this job, we would have a huge leg up against all of the competition, because we've got that, we've got our name in bright flashing lights because we've worked together with this client before. So a couple reasons that we're not going to do this. First of all is the money. And actually we've, we'll plug it into, I made a nice little, mini spreadsheet here to demonstrate. Here it is, the audiobook per finished hour calculator. Okay, so There are 2 cells here for entering information. So let's take a look here. We've got the project is, we'll bring this over here so we can do both at the same time. Close that one. Here's the audiobook per finished hour calculator. Okay. Go away. Word count, 47,980. Let's enter that here, 47,980. Enter. And estimated length. Project length, that's close enough. A bit over 5 hours. That's close enough. Here, the budget is between $500 and $749. Now, my standard sort of calculus for quoting things on voices.com is to basically go, okay, what's the top end of the bucket? Jump down to the previous hundreds and then make that plus 90. So in here, it would be 690. Because 690 sounds like way less than 700 to our silly little monkey brains. But it's near the top end of the range, but it seems a lot lower than it is. But you also have to account on voices.com that Voices takes 20% of every job. So when we put in the budget here, we go equals, because we're in Excel here, equals 690 times 0.8. Not 0.08, times 0.8. And that gives us what we'll actually see as far as dollars in our bank account, $552. So what is happening here? What is this PFA hour, like this calculation that has been spit out? So this is based on, what is this based on? This is just purely raw. Okay, so this is the raw. I should put another cell here showing the dollars per hour that we're actually earning based on our labor. But this is purely just the per finished hour. We will do that. We're going to drag this down and see if it drags down our formatting. It does. Very good. So our dollar per hour. So this cell will be, we'll work through it as we talk about this. So the budget, because we're collaboratively working out the budget based on our quote to the rights holder, based on the bucket that they've given us and what we're going to quote. And then we've applied that 0.8 multiplier there. So that gives us this job based on our quote, the project length. This is $107 per finished hour. Now that might sound great. Who wouldn't want to get $552? But you have to do the work here to determine how much of my time is going to go into earning that $552. And this per finished hour is great as a metric to quickly determine whether a project is worth your time. Now, I am pretty fast in my production. My ratio of the amount of time I spend creating one finished hour is about 2.3 to 2.5. Let's say it's 2.5 just to make the math a little easy. So it takes me about 2.5 hours to create one finished hour of audio. So if this project is about 5 hours, that's about 12.5 hours of work on my end to create this audiobook. That math is a little fuzzy. It doesn't count that I'm going to pre-read the book cover to cover. It doesn't account for me waiting for things to render out of Pro Tools and to upload to ACX, and for the pickups process going back and forth through Positron, which is something that we've shown on this stream. So there's a lot of things in that ratio. So maybe that ratio should be closer to 3 or maybe even higher. So let's just say but for the sake of easy math, we're going to say it's the 2.5 that we have calculated. So we do equals this number divided by 2.5. So for us, that's $42.80 per hour. So that's not so bad. But again, we got to keep in mind all of those things there. Now, for a new narrator, here's the thing you got to keep in mind. For a newer narrator, the ratio that I've heard that newer narrators should use is anywhere between 6 and 10 to 1. You're likely still perfecting your narration technique, whether you're using dog clicker method or punch and roll. You're learning your software on the editing side, so every edit is going to take a whole lot longer than it'll take someone like me. You're still figuring out, like, how are you going to manage your naming conventions and your file tree and all of this stuff. So let's just do that real quick. Equals this amount divided by 10. You're making $10 an hour. Is this what you want to be doing? $10 an hour? At that rate, you might as well be working at Home Depot and making a whole lot more than that and getting a nice discount on lumber and stuff. Like, this, I don't know where in the United States this might be a livable wage. I don't think it's a livable wage anywhere. And we're not in this for fun. Like, it is fun for, like, if you don't find it fun, then you probably don't want to be doing this. But we do have bills. Like, my bank, my mortgage holder doesn't accept, joy as a payment for my monthly mortgage. Spectrum doesn't accept exposure dollars for my internet bill. So this is a number that you really gotta know how to calculate, know where your ratios are, and be ready. So all of this comes out to say that $107 per finished hour is not a rate that I am at all interested in working at. The rate that I quote every author or rights holder that sort of comes across my messages is $250 per finished hour. And let's break our code here. We will undo this. First, we're going to make this, turn this back into our ratio, which is that divided by 2.5. So let's turn this into $250 per finished hour. Suddenly, I'm making $100 an hour based on the actual time that I'm tracking. Again, this ratio doesn't capture everything. So this $100 an hour, that makes it very much worth my time. And you got to consider opportunity cost. When there's all these voiceover jobs compared to audiobook jobs, voiceover jobs that you could be earning way more than $100 per hour if you get the gigs, but you do have to put in the time doing the auditions to get the gigs that do pay super well. So we like to sort of balance our time, and in order to overcome the opportunity cost and to pay our bills, I have found that for me, where I am in my career, $250 per finished hour is a fair rate that authors who are in a good position to market a book that has been properly edited, proofread, and had some good layout and design done on, if an author is able to do all of those things, the ingredients that are necessary for a good book, then they should also be able to afford a good narrator, which I would like to think is where I am in my career. So I think I'm offering a fair market and good value proposition for any authors or rights holders out there. So all of this to say is that is the first reason that we're going to be declining this project. The second reason is I always say on this channel, voice actor, narrator, voice talent, know thyself and be authentic to what you're about. Yes, we are actors and we portray characters in situations that we'll likely never find ourselves in. But if there is an attribute to the primary character or to the author whose voice you are embodying for hours and hours and hours, if there's an attribute that is counter to your worldview or that isn't a match or a fit with sort of who you are at your core, then you should really reconsider if that's a job that you want to take on. And this is a case where, yes, like this is a military associated, a military adjacent, military flavored story, and usually that's right in my wheelhouse. I am a military veteran. I've been to war, and so telling these stories, like I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of them. If an author is really good if they're really good at telling stories of what I will call military glory, which is not glorifying, war and violence. It is telling those, heart-wrenching tales of, camaraderie and, coming through, overcoming, horrible odds and things like that. Those kinds of things, like those get me. And it comes through in the booth. Like I have fully like tears coming down my face while narrating some of these stories, and I'd like to think again that comes through in the audiobook version, and I hope that listeners are able to feel what I'm feeling as I'm narrating these things. So like there, like boom, 100% I'm on board. However, atonement, faith, like just I am not a religious person, and so anytime a story is going to have a strong religious bent to it, I to respect the author's intentions and their wishes, and to respect their listeners at the end. I know that I'm not going to have those fuzzy feelings when I'm narrating the parts that are talking about faith and religion. That's not who I am. That's not in me. And so I want to respect those listeners and the author's intent by letting another narrator have this, a narrator who perhaps does have that connection and those feelings, so that they can give this the performance that it deserves. So best of luck. Hopefully they find a narrator who can work at this rate and can deliver this text in the way it ought to be delivered. All of that is to say, archived. Now look at this. Look at this budget. What's going on here? Why does this project have such a huge budget? Is it legitimate? Let's find out. You're always going to be a little skeptical here. They're asking for Source Connect. With this kind of budget, you would assume that they're going to want a live directed session. This is multiple records in the same scope. Live directed, you'll need to patch in with our audio engineer. Please send your demo reels to, and let me know any expected rate for the record and usage. Thanks. It's digital, social, plus CTV for 1 year. Feel your team's productivity and maximize your budget with this company's stuff. So they have anonymized their copy, which makes this actually seem a little bit more legitimate. Any major company is going to anonymize what they're doing on a casting website like this, and you as the talent aren't going to know who you're reading for until the day of recording, I would bet. And you might even need to sign an NDA before you find out who you're recording for. So this person may, like, if they hire you, they may go like, okay, great, here's the recording date, and here's the NDA, if you could sign that. And then you probably still won't get the script until the day of recording. And they might, like, you might connect on Source Connect, still with no script, and they might do a direct transfer of the script files at that time. Once they've connected with you, they see your face, they see you in the booth, you've signed the NDA, then you'll get the script. You read it, it goes out, and you are, like, that NDA is going to be rock solid, and you better not talk to anybody. Obviously, don't post it on social media, but don't even talk to your family about that. You can just say, I had an exciting day with an exciting client. That's really all you can say. Don't hint, oh, it's a beverage company. Don't do that. Just don't do it, because you can blow up the contract. You can lose this giant payday, and it will be a huge blemish on your reputation in the industry. So don't mess around with that. But we're going to pass on this because there are over 100 people in line ahead of us. It seems very unlikely that we're going to get chosen for this. Or you know what? It's super short. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll get listened to. We're a 100% voice match. Many of these responses are going to be from people with 90% and below voice match, and we're going to show up above all of them because we've done our work in the algorithm. So let's do it. Silly not to. All right, we're going to turn this back on so that you'll be able to hear. There's going to be a little bit of this chorus effect that you hear now, but that means you're going to be able to hear as I'm doing the little punch and roll thing, and you're going to be able to hear as we edit and listen back. This, though, I doubt we're going to have to listen back. We're just going to deliver this as... So, really important, and good coaches like Deborah Sperling really talk about, like, I almost wish that we hadn't seen this giant budget here. But I'm in the mindset of like the more you care, the more like, oh, it's so much money, I better do a really good job on this audition. You're going to be in your head, and you're going to deliver this weird, stilted, robotic read. Or like I always call it the stink of desperation. The stink of desperation will come through your audition. They'll be able to smell you through their speakers. So I'm going to pretend that two zeros have been knocked off this. I'm going to pretend that the budget for this job is $75 to $100. But hey, it's only 2 lines, and who wouldn't like another $100 in their bank account? So that's how I'm going to read it. Fuel your team's productivity and maximize your budget with this company's stuff. This solution allows your team to enjoy discounts of up to 50%. We'll give them another read. Fuel your team's productivity. Well, let's give them a different read. Fuel your team's productivity and maximize your budget with this company's stuff. This solution allows your team to enjoy discounts of up to 50%. Those reads aren't different enough. And so we're going to trust ourselves, and we're going to go with the first read only. We are not going to waste their time and give them 2 takes when the 2 takes are so similar. And the read is straightforward enough that we're not interested in doing like, oh, we're going to do this different interpretation that's going to be crazy. We're not going to do that. Nah. We're going to deliver the 1 take. If they like it, they'll hire us. If they don't, oh well. So reply to job. Let's actually render this, please. We're calling this, I don't know what we're calling this. We're going to call it this company. We're being fun. There we go. And we're going to use this and go for no additional fee. I'm pretty sure I've talked through why I say for no additional fee. That just lets them know that that's my rate. We're going to go short 95.90. Sure. Let's be a little cheeky with our rate there. This company. And, if it's like a crazy wild company, they're all talking about like, oh, maybe we'll do more for usage. Like, nah, we're just going to do this. We're going to send it in. Again, like, you cannot agonize over any one particular job. You need to be fire and forget in your philosophy here. We got an email. It is about a new job on Voices. It is this job that we're looking at. See how early we are? Only 5 people in line in front of us. Let's take a look here. Professional and friendly voice for healthcare staffing software. Let's download that copy, and we're going to jump right into it and try to be early. Here we go. We're ready. Open up our script. Here we go. Staffing a hospital is no easy feat. It's even harder when you're relying on outdated methods like spreadsheets and census averages to determine your daily resource needs. And if you're already understaffed, the last thing you want is to get caught by surprise. I'm actually going to reread that second line. No easy feat. It's even harder when you're relying on outdated methods like spreadsheets and census averages to determine your daily resource needs. And if you're already understaffed, the last thing you want is to get caught by surprise. Okay, it just feels weird the way I'm reading it, but we're going to start here. Understaffed, if you're already understaffed, the last thing you want is to get caught by surprise by a surge in patient volume. Polaris helps you staff the right people in the right place at the right time. Our AI-powered platform analyzes thousands of data points to forecast when staff resources are needed most. You can use those forecasts to build optimal unit schedules in minutes, blending variable shift lengths. I'm going to assume that someone has, hopefully these are going to be edits that other people have made. I'm going to hope that this has all been committed. Sometimes when we open things in OpenOffice, things that might look normal in Microsoft Word can look a little funny. So I think that's what we're seeing here. But we're going to go ahead and charge forward and assume that these are edits that have been committed. Most. You can use those forecasts to build most. You can use those forecasts to build optimal unit schedules in minutes, blending variable shift lengths to ensure you have appropriate staffing. We're going to go here. Minutes, blending variable shift lengths to ensure blending variable shift lengths to ensure you have appropriate staffing levels every hour of the day, every day of the week. The result? Patients get the care they need when they need it. Your staff, this is a list. Got to read it like a list. Day of the week. The result? Patients get the care they need when they need it. Your staff experience less burnout, and you'll save time on scheduling while protecting your budget. Take the guesswork out. Come on. Your budget. Take the guesswork out of staffing with Polaris. Okay, good. We're not going to give them these alternate ending lines. We are already at the length limit for a standard voiceover audition read. That is 50 to 60 seconds. So we gave them the full ad read. And if they want these alternates, they got to hire us. So we're just making our edits. We don't have to listen because we did punch and roll recording for this particular job. The script was simple enough, and sort of in the moment, we felt good enough to just go ahead and do punch and roll. And that means we don't have to listen. And that makes us super fast. And hopefully we'll see that we're in maybe the top 10. Polaris overview. Enter. That's rendering. We're going to say reply to job. Hit our normal template. Hit our normal quote. Select our file. While that's uploading, we glance. 24 people in line. Holy. Okay. Good. Wow. Thursday afternoon. It is party time on voices.com. Everyone's ready. I bet none of these people are live streaming, yakking away, wasting time. That's all right. All right, hospital analytics video. I'm curious if this is going to be the same. We didn't take notice of the client name, but I'd be curious if this is the same client. Analytics software, it could very well be the same. There are 74 people in line ahead of us. Let's see actually if there's anything more like dire or urgent that we submit for. And that'll be how we sort of triage here and decide if we want to do that one. Let's do you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, there are 74 people in line ahead of us, but again, we're 100% voice match. It's a decent budget for the word length here, and it looks like a really simple script. So we're going to go ahead and go for it. Data and analytics are revolutionizing healthcare, enhancing the care providers can deliver. Data and analytics are revolutionizing healthcare, enhancing the care providers can deliver, improving outcome. Okay, we're starting a list. Okay. We cold read so that we can be surprised and maybe some magic happens. But when you cold read, you can with every new line, the new information that you're like, oh, okay, we're saying this wrong. They're not care providers. This is providers, and this is the care that they're giving. It's a different interpretation of these two words together. And then in the next line, we discover oh, this is a list. Okay. Data and analytics. Actually, we like the way we read the first line, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. Or do we? Data and analytics are revolutionizing healthcare, enhancing the care providers can deliver, improving outcomes for patients and families, and saving money for individuals and organizations alike. And we've got a really loud truck passing by. We're probably going to have to reread that whole line. It's unfortunate. Loud trucks. We live in vacation land. Beautiful Maine. Love living here, but we do live somewhat close to a very large, it's a one-lane road, but it's the only road that goes up the coast, and so when those loud trucks pass by, there's only one way they can go. Patients and families. And let's get back in the groove. Patients and families, and saving money for individuals and organizations alike. More than 80% of what influences health happens outside the walls of our hospitals and clinics. With the power of data and analytics, we can unlock a brighter future. Okay, happy with the rest of that read? Happy enough, anyway. If we had booked this job, we would probably go line by line and spend a little bit more time making sure everything is absolutely perfect. But for the purposes of auditions, speed is the name of the game, especially on voices.com. And the more that you nitpick over word by word, hospital analytics. There we go. The more that you agonize over like this or that individual thing, the more disjointed your read's going to sound, and you're not going to get hired anyway. So just read it, get through it, say the words intelligibly and in your own authentic voice, and that's going to be good enough. And if you're right for the job, you'll get picked. And if you're not right for the job, no amount of micromanaging your own audition would ever get you the job. If you're right, you're right. If you're not, you're not. Move on. Okay. Next up. Fine dining restaurant phone IVR. Female. Okay, so why am I seeing this? Is this a case where it's like, oh, well, we want a female, but we'd be open to hearing male auditions as well? That's always obnoxious. Like, make up your mind, please. They don't say anything like this, so they just okay. So, good. Someone else has already reported it. So we don't have to report it. Someone else has reported it. Good. That's just a client maybe just being in a rush and they didn't check the box or they checked the wrong box. We don't know. So this one is one that we might be interested in doing. I like doing video game work when it's sort of appropriate, and this character seems like something that I might have fun with, especially since it's satire. I love snarky satire projects, whether it's like getting a good snarky nonfiction audiobook. I love it when it's like otherwise dry material, but the author is like constantly inserting like little bits of sarcasm. Love that stuff. I read a finance, like a deep, heavy finance book that was like full of like this weird wit and sarcasm. It was really fun. So all of this is to say, like, we're not doing this because the budget is super, super low, and our voice match they selected metadata tags that just missed us entirely. We don't have a specific video games demo, so our maximum is maybe 90% if everything else nails us as far as our metadata. But we also have role, politician, and style monotone and concerned. I know that I don't have any demos that are tagged with these 3 tags. So, of course, our voice match is going to be really low. And if you are seeing, if you're on Voices and you're seeing voice match like this for like otherwise sort of straight ahead commercial reads, then you got to do some work on your demos, your samples, and on how you've tagged and done the metadata on them. You really got to do the work so that you have a chance of being listened to and therefore hired. So we're going to pass on this one. On to the next. We're only a 90% voice match, and this looks like a political documentary feature, number of different voices, role newscaster, style informative. I'm pretty sure I've got the informative tag somewhere in my demos, but let's see here. Today, Pakistan is the most dangerous country in the world, and her opponents threatened to destroy her, and tonight they came close. So that's that feels awkwardly written, but maybe it's an actual quote or something. But there's already 48 people in line ahead of us, and we're only a 90% match, so we're going to skip this one. Going on to the next trailer. Let's see here. We're looking for this. So, very, very useful. 50s announcer voice. Come on. Okay. So my question here, what we're looking for, and they link this guy who is a voice actor. You're looking for it. You already found it. My brother in Christ, you found it. His name is Andrew Helbig. Like, what's that, like that meme, the Instagram, like, it's literally me in the pic. My brother in Christ, you found the guy. His name is Andrew Helbig. You linked him in your reference video. Hire Andrew. Hire him. He's right there. He's got his email address in the description. I can visit his website. Let's visit his website. I'll do the work for you. AndrewHelbig.com. Here he is. He's got demos. He's got all of these trailers, all this stuff. This guy, it's got a contact form, or you already have his email. Like, hire Andrew. I don't understand this talent or this client, whatever. Like, hire Andrew. We're not. I'm shook. I'm rattled. We're not gonna submit for this. This is just like, nah. I don't want. Clearly, clearly they don't know what they want. They know what they want, but they're not gonna hire him. So why are they gonna hire us? Like, Andrew, like, I don't know. This seems like a solid budget. I bet Andrew would do it for this budget. Why aren't you hiring Andrew? What are you doing? I'm gonna send a message to old Andrew and be like, Andrew, can you believe how dirty they've done you? They're using you as a reference. This is a budget that I bet Andrew would be perfectly satisfied to get paid this amount to do this thing that he did 4 years ago. Clearly he could do it again. So Andrew, I feel for you, buddy. You got done dirty. You deserve this. You deserve to just get an email pop into your inbox. Hey, here is money. Do the thing that you did 4 years ago. I don't understand people sometimes. Can someone out there please like explain to me what's going on there? Okay, moving on. Lifestyle commercial voiceover. Current draft of the video. Love to see that. The video currently uses my voice. We love the authenticity and pacing of it. It feels as if you were joining the conversation. So all of this is like really good to see, sort of standard stuff here. We would do this one if there were fewer responses in line ahead of us. Basically, we have a sliding scale of like how many responses are in line ahead of us versus what's the budget. So like the higher the budget is, the more that we're willing to take that risk of not ever getting listened to because there are so many people in line ahead of us. And other people are making the similar, they're making their own determinations of what's worth their time or not. For this budget here, for getting 80% of whatever we end up quoting, a shot at that, with 41 people in line ahead of us, we're gonna pass on it. Here, though, we might do it because there's only 24 people in line ahead of us. However, I know that this client, the copy that they provide is rarely what I would call like ready for broadcast. And I do not mean to disparage or denigrate this client, because they post here often, and clearly they're booking and they're paying people. I'm sure that there are talent out there who are paying their mortgage with jobs, consistent work from this client. And so like more power to you. But for me, it does seem like the copy that gets provided was not written by a native English speaker, which is fine. But it does seem like they're kind of wanting the extra service of fine localization, of sort of like doing that, just a little bit of extra polish on the script to make it sound like a natural native English delivery. And we could, we're not gonna belabor the point. Just to suffice it to say, I'm not saying this is a bad client or that they're doing a bad thing by posting these scripts. It's just that for me, I'm all right. I'm all right. All right. Have you ever had someone sort of like invite themselves over to your house, and like you don't want to be rude by saying like, nah, I've seen enough of you and I don't want you in my personal space. It's almost impossible to decline that. It's the way I was brought up. It's incredibly rude to invite yourself over to someone's house. But when it happens to you, you feel like refusing is rude. And so maybe that's the root of the rudeness, is that the thing that you're doing is putting this other person in this impossible position of like feeling like they have to either capitulate to this absurd demand or feel really rude by denying the demand. So that's I'm not saying that that client is doing a rude thing. I'm saying that I feel rude, like, voicing on this stream why I'm going to pass on it. I'm not meaning to be rude. There's nothing wrong with doing those jobs. It's just, it's not for me. I'm gonna pass on it. This job, it's got a good budget, 110 people in line ahead of us. We're probably not going to do it. Let's see what we got here. Is quality a pastime? What does that mean? They say they don't make them like they used to. Did they always say that? Or maybe things then were crafted with more care. Quality has no sense. This all makes sense. Is quality a pastime? Like, I get what they're saying. And I'm sure I get it. I do. Anyway, apart from that, this is not a copy editing live stream. This is an audition live stream. Really cool that they include music reference. So super useful. In fact, I will often we'll just sort of just do it just for fun. I'm not actually going to submit this audition, but it's really nice to be able to go play here, come back here, record. Is quality a pastime? They say they don't make them like they used to. Did they always say that? Or maybe then things were crafted with more care. Quality has no sense of time. Quality has no sense of time. And we would feel really good. Like, I would not have read that way if it weren't for having that behind me. I would not have left that much space. I would have read it totally differently. And so having that in the background is super useful. I wish more clients did that. Having a music reference, or here's the work in progress, or here is a similar type of vibe to a spot, but specifically having just the music reference without a voice reference included in it is super useful. Like, man, like, what an amazing tool. In fact, screw it. We're going to submit that. Like, why not? I feel like we did a pretty good job there. We repeated the last line twice. We want to preserve actually that spacing there. And we're not even going to listen to it. We're not even going to listen to it dry because we might second guess ourselves. So yeah, there are 110 people in line ahead of us. But we just did the work, and it doesn't hurt us to go ahead and submit it. Quality pastime. So on Voice123, absolutely not. We would not submit this because we care so much about the algorithm. Here, though, it doesn't hurt us if we don't get listened to. It doesn't hurt you if you don't get listened to on Voice123, but if you get listened to but not liked or hired, it hurts you. As for no additional fee. All right, we're going to copy this line, and after this, we're going to go and change our template to include this so you can see what the template interface looks like on voices.com, because it's a really cool thing. Here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to quote the high end of our range here. 1690, just doing our normal thing where we jump down 100 and then just put a 90 on the end of it. There we go. Send the response. Done. What is this? Deadline. 28 people in line ahead of us for the lower end of the range here. Tommy's father is loving, charismatic, but also ill-tempered and strict. Okay. Dad? No, we're not going to do this one. I'm going to pass on it. Briefly, I'm going to come off screen to make sure I don't reveal anything when we come in here to change our response templates. No, we're not going to. Okay, so we can come back. So right here, response templates. It's just a little drop down here. Response templates right there. And then here are all the little templates that I've got. I wish Voice123 had something similar to this. In lieu of doing something like this, especially like if you're doing one or the other, if you're doing voices.com, obviously you get to use this. If you're doing Voice123 alone or you're doing both, what I would recommend is having like a text document, just a .txt, a text document on your desktop or somewhere where you can quickly get to it, and having like a copy paste of all of these different responses that are saved in a neat little drop down for you on voices.com, but on Voice123 you can still access those different templates by just going to your text document. I've got my little Stream Deck gadget here, and they're sort of saved to where I just press a button and it pastes one of these responses. So actually, I think I need to edit the audiobook response. Yep, because I now have 30 plus audiobooks. It's been a while since I've done that. So let's save that one. And then with directed session, we're going to paste in the new thing that I say there. So there we go. Save. And that'll just save us, it'll save us 2 seconds when we're submitting auditions. But that could be the difference in being number 9 in line and number 12 in line. It really can be. And that can make the difference between getting listened to or not, and therefore getting hired or not. So we've done that, and that also is the end of our jobs queue on voices.com. So let's head over to Voice123. We're already halfway through the stream, and we're only just getting off of voices.com. We talk too much. I'm so sorry. Well, let's take a look at Voice123, and we're going to refresh the page, see if anything new came in. There are 16 jobs. Let's see how many of these we can clear out right away. Just scrolling down to the bottom here. 63 out of 50, we know we can delete that. We're not going to get listened to. 48 out of 40, we can delete that. Any others that are over the limit? Yep, 36 out of 25. And these are the client has requested to hear the second number. So this client has said, I want to hear 25 proposals. And I would imagine that they've paid for a certain amount. I would imagine that's how it works. I'm sure our friends at Voice123 will correct me if I'm incorrect there. So I'd imagine that this client, when they posted this job, they paid X dollars so that they could hear 25 proposals. And I think the way it works is that if they listen to those first 25 and they're like, these aren't quite it, or I'd like to hear more, I think they can pay to listen to anything over that amount. So imagine being number 26, like some poor person here was. Imagine being number 26 and just like you're just hoping that someone's going to pay a little bit extra to listen to your audition. Like, boy, that is hope. I wish I had that kind of hope in my life. I am too jaded. So for that reason, we almost never submit for jobs where they are over the amount of proposals. It won't hurt you in the algorithm if you never get listened to. It was good to get that confirmation from our Voice123 friends. So it won't hurt you in the algorithm, but it sort of hurts you in the universal sense of like you kind of wasted some time. It's practice, sure, but we're not just here to practice. We're here to hopefully, pay our bills. 70 out of 50, we're going to pass on this one. Let's look at, there's a couple on the next page here. This one's 41 out of 25. We're going to pass on that one. Okay, so now, this is an annoying thing that happens on Voice123. Maybe our friends over there will see this. If you've done this, if you've gone to page 2 and you've cleared out job number 11, there's no easy way to get back to job number 1. Yeah, if I click the projects thing down here, does it work? It doesn't work. Clicking projects doesn't reload page number 1. So I have to go somewhere else, and I want to be careful about doing this, not to reveal client names. I don't even want to go to my profile here. Ooh, we're gonna come off stream real quick, and we're gonna go here. Yeah, oh yeah, this would have revealed lots of information. Okay, back to Pro Tools here, or back to our scene here. All right, these are all jobs that are maybes for us. So let's start at the bottom here for an absolute no. The last 2 streams in a row, we've done very long spiels about why we don't do TTS, text-to-speech. This is someone who is trying to train an AI voice on our voice and ruin our career. Yeah, it'd be nice to have $7,500 in my bank account, but I would basically be potentially screwing myself out of work for the next million years. So this is an absolute decline. And we're going to put the reason, TTS. I rarely will decline using this little interface that lets me put in a reason, but for TTS and certain other things that really grind my gears, I'll take that extra step and decline it there so that I can put a note there. Nelson Mandela quote, "That's probably not right for me. Just need a dramatic read of the quote above with a little bit of grit to it, not too movie voice. I would hope that you're going to cast authentically. And in fact, even why is South African not your choice of accent? A little strange. It's a little strange. I'm curious what the usage here is. Either way, I kind of want no part of it. We're going to pass on that. One thing I forgot that we need to do is we need to go through each one of these, and we need to make sure that the client has used the optional anonymization option for their name to where it just says client and then a bunch of numbers rather than their first and last name. That is something that our friends at Voice123 have asked us to do, and I see that one of these jobs does show the client's first and last name. So thankfully we did that to where you couldn't see it on the stream. I'm looking at the job right now, and let's see if this is something that we're going to do. We're going to keep this off stream, so we have scrolled down enough to where we can't see it, and now let's talk about it. Let's decide. CU West, loan plan. It's got a nice fixed budget here. This is radio in Arizona, so it's not an enormous media market, so this budget it makes sense. Here we go. Looking for lively informed with a very slight Hispanic accent. I speak a fair amount of Spanish, but I speak Spanish I've always been told I have good pronunciation, but obviously I'm going to have an American accented Spanish. I can, in an audiobook setting, this is direction that is appropriate for doing a character within an audiobook. But I wouldn't, for example, narrate an entire first-person point of view audiobook with an accent like this. That would not be appropriate, and likewise for a spot like this, it is not appropriate for us to submit for this one. So we are not going to. We are going to hit our back button, and we're going to hit the little not for us button there. Okay, let's start. Let's see here. We're probably going to deny this looking for a quote here. BCI, Acuale? Let's see here. Oh, okay. VoiceOver is an explanatory video for a target audience of young immigrant students who would like to study in Quebec. I'm curious if they are looking for a Quebecois accent. I do not speak any French. My lady is trying to learn French. We do live quite close to Quebec up here in Maine, and there are plenty of francophones around here. I would imagine that's probably the most spoken second language up here. There are a lot of Finns about, a lot of people of Finnish descent around here, and there's a nice little smattering of folks around here, but a lot of French stuff going on here. But it just seems very likely that we are not the right voice for this. It seems like they want a little bit of the Quebecois accent, and I cannot do a Quebecois accent. That's an accent that, because it's very hard white-coded, if we could do a really, really good Quebecois accent, I'd be like, fine, but I can't, and so I won't. I have had an audiobook where I had to do, Larry, what is up? I only just saw you. I don't know how long ago you posted that. Good to see you. I did an audiobook where There's actually a recurring character. This character comes back like through multiple sequels, who is Quebecois, and every time like I have a chapter with this character, all right, that's good. Every time this character comes up, I have to like go to YouTube and like look up like interviews and like podcasts with Quebecois people so I can get that accent, and it's very fun. Like the French accent is typically very closed. Like if you just close your mouth a bit and you do this with your hands, then you can usually get the French accent. But the Quebecois accent is much bigger. It's like it's American mouth with the French pronunciation. That's the Quebecois thing. That's my shorthand to where I get for that. And I know just there, any Quebecois people who watch this are going to come by and bomb my house. But that's my starting point anyway. But we're gonna pass on this one because we are not Quebecois. And on Voice123, like the most important thing is you'll get punished by the algorithm if you're not a good fit for what you're submitting an audition for. Like on voices.com, hell yeah, like have fun. Do the silly accent so long as it's like culturally appropriate for you to do it. Do the Quebecois accent, like go nuts. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we've got a voices.com. Let's reload. 11 people already in line ahead of us. It's an estate planning video. Very good. The client is from Texas. So maybe we'll throw on a little bit of the Texas accent here. I don't know. Let's take a look here. They haven't put any performance notes, but it's an estate planning video. What more do you need? There are several foundational estate planning roles and documents that every family should understand. In estate planning, the executor carries out the terms of your will, managing the estate's distribution according to your wishes. When you create a trust, you become the grantor, or the individual who establishes a trust and transfers assets into it. Then you'll choose a trustee. That person or entity is responsible for managing the assets held in a trust and distributing them according to the trust's terms. You may also choose a trust protector, a third party. All right. We had to stop there just because the buildup of nasties. Trust's terms. You may also now we can't talk. Trust terms. You may also choose a trust protector, a third party Protector, a third party appointed to oversee the trustee's actions and ensure the trust is administered properly, often with the power to make changes if necessary. The individuals or entities who will benefit. Let's read that again. Necessary. The individuals or entities who will benefit from your estate are called beneficiaries. As you create your estate plan, you'll also need to choose people to play 2 different power of attorney roles, which we'll explain shortly. All right, that is good enough, and that's perfectly long enough for a product like this. We're not even going to listen to this. We did punch and roll recordings, so we kind of edited as we went. We just need to clean up these edit points. Paste in our room tone there at the end, select everything, apply our standard crossfades, turn on our declick, name this thing estate planning. Sure. Estate planning. There we go. Close the script. Don't need it anymore. Hit that. Mute this so you don't get the delayed sound there. Hit our general template. Make our quote. Select our file. Here it is. While it's uploading, we check 13 people in line ahead of us. Not too bad. Upload, upload, upload. Go. All right. Being number 14, that's not so bad. It's very likely that we will, at the very least, be heard by the client. You also have to consider that because Voices.com sends out auditions all at the same time, like everybody sees it at the same time. There's no like holding it back and sending it out to certain tiers of people. Everybody sees the audition at the same time. So some of those 13 people in line ahead of us might be they might have a 90% voice match or lower. We had a 100% voice match. So even if other people got in earlier than us, if we have a higher voice match percentage than them, we're going to be in line ahead of them. basically the way that the client is going to see is they're going to see chronologically all of the 100% first, then chronologically all of the 90%, and so on and so forth. So if this client, we're on a Thursday afternoon here, right? Today's Thursday, right? What year is it? It is Thursday. So if they posted this and they're like, all right, done for the day, and I'm taking a long weekend, and they don't come back until Monday, then even if we didn't submit this until, Sunday evening, and there were 100 people there, but maybe the tags were really weird to where, like, the vast majority of people who submitted were 90% voice match or below, but we're 100%. As late as we submitted, we're gonna show up ahead of all of them. And I don't know how much client education happens, but as me as a client, if I'm like, oh, these people are 100% voice match, I'm going to listen to all of the 100% voice matches. And, well, why would I want to listen to someone who's not a good match for my thing? Like, maybe they're putting too much stock in, like, the ability for just a number to represent, like, what's a good match. Because, like, just because someone hasn't put in the work to make the algorithm work for them and they're a 60% voice match, that doesn't mean they're not the perfect voice for this project. So it's kind of a bummer that it all sort of works out that way. But you can safeguard yourself if you're working on this website by just putting in that work and making sure that you are a 100% match algorithmically for anything that really is work that you would like to do. So I know that I need to make a video game demo. I know that I need to make a phone demo, and maybe even like a voice assistant demo. Like, that might be something cool to do at some point. And that might be something cool to do on the stream, to do those demos. We've got 4 jobs here that appear to all be by the same client. Let's see what's going on here. Agency and client are looking for humor without being too over the top. They're looking for acting range, different options and takes, and are looking for creative acting voices. So what is this? Is this they're looking for different accents? They're looking for what's the script? Okay. Main character doc. Hello, that's me elevating your experience with 8,000 super soft nano bristles. Check out my revolutionary bristle design ready to wrap around your teeth's natural curves. Is this like sexualizing teeth? I don't know how else to interpret that. Maybe my brain is just completely warped. Curved for your comfort and very good at staying cool under pressure. With me, it's like brushing for the very first time every time. Winky emoji? My brother in Christ, what are you doing? Did I mention I'm shower proof? What are you doing? What is this copy? Holy, oh my God. Okay. I don't even know where to begin with this. Oh my God. I kind of love it. I don't know. If this was on voices.com, absolutely. I would do this and I would have a lot of fun with it and and just go nuts. However, we're on Voice123 and you live and die by the algorithm on Voice123, and I don't want to get dinged by the algorithm. If my interpretation is wrong, if they're not being the way I think they're being, then my interpretation will be way off base, and this client's going to be like, what is wrong with this sick pervert? and that'll ding me. So let's look at the other jobs, the other scripts here. It's me, your great grandma. I don't. I can't. No. What? No. Oh no. Okay. Let's look at another one. Do I want to? Oh God. 99% germs, 1% class, and totally available. Okay. I don't know if I want to read ads for a horny toothbrush. Oh my God. Let's look at the last one. How about some mouth to mouth? How about some love bites? All right. All right. Settle down. Oh my God. Okay. This is good. We needed this. Oh my God. All right. I don't even know what to do about this. This is a lot. And here they I guess that's the whole script. How about some mouth to mouth? How about some love bites? I can't do it. I can't do it on the stream. We're gonna pass on these. I know this live stream is supposed to be a place for for seeing the real work at play, and maybe I would really do this work if we weren't on the stream, and so maybe I'm being a bit disingenuous. But I don't want to get demonetized. Not that this is monetized, but I don't want to get like a strike on my channel for reading sexy toothbrush copy. My God. All right, redub international cleaning brand commercial. Okay, so this is a commercial that aired somewhere overseas or somewhere in a non-English speaking market, and it looks like perhaps a Quebecois product. Maybe it's already aired in French. Let me see here. Yeah, standard redub job. Yep. Usage, fixed budget 400 for that much usage. My God. As a judoka, someone who practices judo, I've got to make the right moves, but that's a little hard now. So to dust hidden spots, I grab my new O-Cedar Flex and Catch. It's flexible ahead with recycled fibers, catches dust everywhere. New O-Cedar Flex and Catch. O-Cedar. Interesting. We're gonna pass on this one because they're already pretty full up on proposals, and it just doesn't feel. I don't know that my voice is the cleaning product, brand voice necessarily. Let's take a look at this one though. Careers and math. Actor or actress must be between 11 and 15 years old. I don't know if that is in line with the terms of service of this website, so good luck. Good luck. I'm curious how that works. Maybe it's voices that I'm thinking of. One of these websites, like terms of service, is like absolutely not no child labor on our website. Like I do know that like there's some tricky stuff that you have to do. Like maybe if it's like you're working through an intermediary like an agent, it'll work out. I don't know. I don't know how pay to plays work for child actors. I'd be interested to find out. All right, so that's everything right now on voices.com and Voice123. We will go ahead and reload the voices.com page, see if we're going to be super lucky and find something early. Let's head over to ACX and let's take a look at the projects that are available. See what we've got. And I can already see nothing new. Not a single project posted in our price bucket anyway. In our budget, nothing has come in. And that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to produce our 15-minute check for our audiobook that we're working on. So when you are doing an audiobook, so if you're trying to get into audiobook narration and you're watching the stream, how it works, you do the auditions on ACX, just like we were potentially going to do right now. You do the audition, the author or rights holder, more commonly, you're working with a rights holder, and sometimes those are the same thing, sometimes they're not. So the shorthand that you'll see often is just simply RH. So when you communicate with the RH, that's what you'll see on like the Facebook groups and things like that. So if you're curious about why you're seeing the letters RH, that means rights holder. It's the person who it's your counterpart in the audiobook production process. So as you're working with the rights holder, you contract with them, they liked your audition, you agree to to a couple dates. So final delivery, obvious, that one's obvious when you deliver everything. But the other date that you agree to is the date by which you are going to deliver the 15-minute check. And that is 15 minutes of the audiobook. Usually it's the first 15 minutes because that makes sense. But if the book has like a really important character that doesn't come in until page 50, and it's important that you interpret that character correctly, then maybe instead of the first 15 minutes, you pick a different set of 15 minutes that has that character's dialogue in it, and that's what you deliver as the 15-minute check. And it literally is just 15 minutes or so. Doesn't need to be exactly 15 minutes. Just a good enough chunk of audio that the rights holder can listen to it and confirm, yes, what I liked about the audition is still there. That magic is still there. And what you've delivered is of a delivery and a quality that I'm happy to get the full book in this same to the same standard. So the 15-minute check is the last opportunity for the rights holder to back out without any kind of penalties. And depending on whether you're doing royalty share or per finished hour, like it can get a little hairy if communication falls apart or if someone isn't happy by the end of things. So just make sure that it's really important that you as the talent, as the producer, what you deliver in your audition and what you deliver in your 15-minute check is the same as what you're going to be able to deliver for the whole audiobook. You need to represent accurately what you're actually going to be able to do. So don't be like, oh, like I've got this really important audition that I really want to nail, so I'm going to go to my buddy's studio. That sounds way better than mine. You record the audition there, you send it in, the client loves it, and then it's like, well, okay, I got the book. Now I'm going to do it in my home studio, which sounds like ass. And if you deliver the 15-minute check and it sounds like ass, hopefully the client will hear that and have some questions. But if you do the 15-minute check in that other studio and then you come back and try to do the rest of the book in your crappy sounding studio, that's where you will have messed up, and it would absolutely be in that rights holder's within their rights to go like, no, like what I heard in the 15-minute check is not the same as what I've heard here. That's on you. I want to dissolve this contract for no penalty. So it's a long way of saying, don't mess around. Don't screw with your rights holders. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got our project up here. I don't want to say we've been lazy. We've been just sort of saving the work on this audiobook. This is a real audiobook that we have been hired to do. The book is called Accidental Healer, and it's book 2 of a series. Book 1 was it was just me narrating. This one, book 2, is dual point of view. So from chapter to chapter, it's going to be either me reading the whole chapter, or it's going to be my partner, whose name is Teresa Bakken, my narrating partner, not my partner. Don't get it twisted. My narrating partner, Teresa Bakken, is narrating the other chapters here. So you can see here, I don't know if you can read this, but this is the prologue. Nice short prologue here. And then chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 are blank because Teresa narrates chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I come in with chapter 5 and 6, and so on. It just sort of alternates randomly from there. So something I have to record before we can put together the 15-minute check here. I need to record the opening credits. Now, because I wasn't sure, the way Teresa's last name is spelled, I was like, is it Bakken or Bucken? Like, I wasn't sure. But Teresa confirmed with me how to pronounce her name. And then we sort of we had that discussion of, well, whose name goes first? My name or her name? And I quickly just, you know what, like Teresa has way more audiobooks that she's recorded. She's worked with much bigger publishers than me. Like, she's the star in this production. So Teresa's name is going first. During the closing credits, those are a bit longer, and I might have an extra note about like produced by me. So narrated by Teresa and me, produced by me. I might get like that tiny little thing. But who cares about the closing credits? The opening credits, no, like half of people don't listen to closing credits, but everybody, you got to listen to the opening credits. And so everyone's going to hear Teresa's name first, and that is totally fine with me. because she is a superstar and I'm thrilled to be working with her. So we're going to we're going to briefly come off stream full screen here so that we can find our way to the very handy dandy production notes that they give us. I just don't want to be revealing any personal information about our author. So let's see here. Suggested credits and copyright information. Here we go. So we can come back. This is super helpful that they give us this. So we do want to make a little bit of changes here. So we're going to copy these and we're going to paste them into our manuscript here. So we don't need to be there. Here we are. Here is the full manuscript, and we're going to go all the way back up to the top here, and we're just going to paste them here. And we're going to do Control-Shift-V, and that is to paste special, and we want to paste it without any formatting. There we go. Let's see here. Narrated by, and I'm going to go ahead and write in her name, Teresa Bakken. Bakken is how you say it. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the work here to get the closing credits done. Produced by me. Cool. So there's our, here's our opening credits. This is what we're going to narrate right now. And then we're going to import the audio that Teresa has sent us for the first couple of chapters, and we're going to use that to create the 15-minute check. So right now, we're going to go ahead and solo this, arm it for record. Now you should be hearing the funky, phasey, chorusy effect of hearing the Pro Tools audio and my audio. And you're just going to have to deal with it. Here we go. Actually, we're not going to track our time on this. It's just the opening credits. It doesn't matter. Accidental Healer, Tales from the Afterworld, Book 2. Right? Okay, yeah, that is the way that the title is read in the credits it's very specific. It has to be absolutely accurate to what's on the cover. And I was briefly curious, like, is it The Tales from the Afterworld? No, here it is. Tales from the Afterworld, Book 2. So that is absolutely correct. So we're going to stop second-guessing ourselves. Book 2. Let's take a big breath. Book 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. Narrated by Teresa Bakken and Jimmy Moreland. Let's redo that one. Book 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. Narrated by Teresa Bakken and Jimmy Moreland. A little too much. 2. Narrated by Teresa Bakken and Jimmy Moreland. We keep reading this line as though there's more to come, like there will be in the closing credits. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of white space here so that mentally we're doing this right. Book 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. Oh my God. Book 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. Narrated by Teresa Bakken and Jimmy Moreland. And I'm getting too precious with my own stupid name. 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. I can't even pronounce the author's name right anymore. Wow, we are in our heads, ladies and gentlemen. Book 2. Written by V.K. Passanen. Narrated by Teresa Bakken and Jimmy Moreland. It's good enough. It's just the opening credits. It's just the first thing anybody hears of my stupid voice. Let's go back here. We're going to search for, let's see here. We're actually going to do it. We're going to come full screen on this real quick. Drag in our opening set of silence here. And then drag in our closing set of silence here. An interesting thing that we're going to have to figure out is, so Teresa uses a different duration for her standard closing silence. And I would normally just go like, okay, fine, I'll just defer to that. But I've already done an entire book with a slightly different duration for our closing silence. And she also uses a slightly different duration for her chapter header gaps. So we might be making some adjustments and then communicating with her via email to get things all together here. So we'll go ahead and listen to it here. Go ahead and apply our crossfades. All right, very good. And now we're going to import Teresa's audio. So it would be nice if we could just like drag and drop from a different folder, but we're in Pro Tools, and Pro Tools, life ain't so easy. So we're going to go all the way off screen here, and we're go import audio, and that brings up this nice little window here. And we're going to have to find, it is on the read drive, it's in our Pro Tools sessions, it's in audiobooks, it's in Accidental Healer, and then it's in Teresa Bakken chapters. We're going to import both of those. Add. Let's see if it likes it as it is. We're going to import it to clip lists so that we can drag them straight from there, right there. And look at that. That easy. Now, her audio has been, let's remind ourselves, has it been mastered? It looks quite loud. It's just after RX, so it hasn't been mastered. So we're going to be having some fun with the mastering here. So we're going to have to create an auxiliary bus. We're going to be causing some panic out there. We're going to have to create an auxiliary bus, and that will allow us to have like a separate mastering chain for Teresa versus my audio, because my voice, my booth, probably even my microphone is different than what Teresa is recording with. And so I can't apply the same EQ and compression to Teresa's voice as I have on my voice. That would be silly. We can also see just at a glance that Teresa's recording volume is much hotter than my recording volume. I'm in a super low noise booth, and I like to have a lot of headroom with the way that I read. So let's just listen real quick. And by default, my mastering chain is on this track right now. But let's just hear what it sounds like. Okay, I can tell already that because of the volume that she's already at, that my compression is picking up a bunch of stuff that it shouldn't be picking up. So we're going to have to adjust that. So this will be fun. We've got some time on the stream. We can get this figured out here. So let's go ahead. We're going to duplicate our I'll bring it over here. So this is our mastering chain. It's really simple. I've got it's a channel strip. This isn't something that I've bought apart from this is a stock plugin that came with Pro Tools. This is a channel strip, and all it does is it's got EQ and compression built into it. And that's all I'm using. I am not using the gate function. You shouldn't be using a gate if you are doing any kind of voice work. The gate, I challenge you to find a setting on a gate for spoken word that doesn't end up sounding like garbage. I really do. So not using a gate, but what you can see here on the EQ that's really obvious is that we've got a really aggressive high-pass filter. It starts at like 80 hertz, but we're really trying to kill stuff that's like below 50 hertz. That's what we really want out of there, because there's no useful information in the human voice up there. We're also killing the very, very, very high frequencies, where again, all that's going to come through there is hiss and just unimportant information. So we've got this bit here. I do like to give my voice a tiny little bump right at 110 hertz, just because, like, what's the point of having my voice if I'm not going to lean into it a little bit? So we get a little bit of a bump there, but then we cut the rest of the low mids or the mid mids here, so that we don't end up sounding boxy or whatever. Likewise, we've got a little bit of an extra cut here, and these are very, very small cuts. Like, keep that in mind. These cuts that we're making are tiny, 0.8 dB. That's how small the cuts that we're making are. If your EQ looks wild, if you're doing 10 dB cuts of this frequency or that frequency, then something is very wrong. You either need to do something with the treatment in your room, with your mic technique, something. Old Laredo Larry says he can't hear the playback. Interesting. Let me hit this playback, and we're gonna look at OBS and see what's going on. Well, there I can't hear it either, but let's. Are you sure you can't hear that?